What's up, Goodman? Goodman DECA is in the house with episode 2 of our Uncut Gems podcast. And today I'm joined by the one and only Daniel Herzinski, our VP of External Communications. And we have a very special guest today. I consider him my big brother, my role model, and the guy I looked up to last year. His name is Kido Okeleke.
What's good? Thank you. That's a good intro. Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Daniel, for being here. Let's get it on. Thank you. I'm blessed.
Of course, man. I don't see why we wouldn't have you on. You know, you're a legend around these parts, so obviously we had to bring you on, right? So, I guess
legend himself.
Exactly. I guess maybe to kick it off and kind of introduce yourself to people who may not know who you are. I guess maybe touch on yourself, who you are. You know, how you portray yourself to other people.
Hi, I'm Kido Okeleke, live and direct, right from Amsterdam. I'm currently a fourth year BBA student concentrating in information systems and marketing. So yeah, that's a little bit about me. Obviously, I love DECA. I've been a part of the program for 4 years. I was able to go amazing places, Florida, Chicago, Washington, meet so many different people, be so many different, just because DECA made that opportunity for me. And DECA opened up so many doors for my internships and what I work and so many people I've met. And yeah, I have so much a deep reverence for DECA, especially all the people I met here and Bill. That's why, me and him are really close. So I'm always down and just humbled to come back and just tell and share experiences, whatever everyone wants to hear about me. So that's really, I'm glad to do it. So thank you so much.
Yeah, man, of course. I don't even know why we wouldn't have you on. But I guess to lead off, obviously, you mentioned how, you're working at Nike up in Amsterdam right now. So I guess the biggest thing I feel I would really want to know myself too is how did you land that? What's the story of that?
Yeah.
That's something rare.
It's crazy. I think I think just to start it off, just to back up from even before, just my internship journey. I think this is going into my third internship. So I began I began working. My first internship was with Adidas Canada, which is pretty funny. And I was a 4-month intern at Adidas. Was a marketing finance intern, and I loved it. It was just crazy how I got that, and that was just me just grinding and working. And then the summer after that, I worked in TD, which was more data driven, and TD Bank. I never really even seen myself as a TD Bank guy, because that's on Bay Street, with the suits, and you guys know me, I wear sweats anytime I can wear sweats, I'm gonna wear sweats. So but working at TD downtown in Bay Street was amazing because I just got learned so much, and I worked in the data role, so it was really cool. And all those two roles kind of primed me for Nike. So I think around this time last year, I'm just yo, what's my next step, kind of thinking about school. And I obviously everyone wants to work for a great company like Nike, and obviously you apply to the internship program, it's so competitive, right? But I think with me, I just started applying, and then out of nowhere, a recruiter reached out to me on LinkedIn, and she said hey, I really saw your application. I love it. I'm yo, that's crazy. I'm even getting this link right now. But it turned out the what she wants me to intern with was in Europe, and I'm whoa, I didn't even think about Europe. I'm just not Europe. Bill, Dan, you guys know me. I'm a city kid. I love Toronto. Toronto's my favorite city in the world. So just being in Europe was weird, but it's a great opportunity. Why wouldn't you want to work for Nike? That's just a great look. So obviously I did it. It was a year internship. So I just deferred my last semester, and I started in February as a marketplace ops intern, which is great with Nike, more digital space, digital marketing, working on launches. So it's really cool, more marketing, more digital. It's a really good cross function. So yeah, that's kind of how I got it. Just being blessed, and obviously having the good experiences that led up to my past interns and internships, and that's why I'm here now.
Those are some big companies you worked with. I know those some of the big names that we all hope to work with one day. I know you, especially with Adidas and Nike, those are the sports marketing. And I know that you competed in the sports and entertainment marketing category at provincials and ICDC. How did that help prepare you for these internships in these big sports companies?
Right. Yeah. It was everything to me, bro. Just having that experience, I didn't even understand how big of that experience would help, but just doing that helped me. And obviously, shout out to my best friend, Milay Polish. He was my partner. He was my brother. He's still my brother to this day. And having those experiences with him and bouncing off ideas. Just when you get to, you know, an ICDC or provincials, like that's kind of like one of the best. That's when you like the best of the best is there. So you always have to prove yourself and prove your ideas. And just being able, especially at ICDC that level, you're literally presenting in front of like industry standard guys. So like in Florida, we presented in front of the Orlando Magic. In Washington, we presented in front of a WNBA team. I think there was a WNBA team there. So just having, when I was always ready to present in front of those people, I think that primed me for an actual role in a sports marketing, because I've already kind of did it and I did the ideas and I would already been primed by DECA. So I think just DECA gave me and Mile just great experiences, and like Mile obviously did his thing at Adidas. So it just gave us good experiences through DECA just helping us out. So I think that's why like the sports entertainment category is just so stacked with potential and have so many great like they have just so many great problems and so many great companies in that category. And just once you become like really good at it, it's just like, it's really just taking skill and putting it into a real job. And then that's really just helped me. So yeah, it really helped me a lot.
That's dope. Honestly, like it's so cool that you even get like the opportunity to just like work abroad, right? Because like with my program at Brock, right, like I'm in the dual degree program, so like I'm actually going to France next year, right? I'm gone. So I guess
That's
like
dope.
even just like for like myself, I'm just wondering like, you know, working here and then working like in Europe, like what's the main difference you see in like the work culture, even just like the way of life?
Yeah, like I think like just for me, like I coming here was such a culture shock. This is like one of my like first times in Europe, and then like obviously with the whole coronavirus, it was like crazy. Didn't even like expect it. It was so crazy. But I think just with Nike, especially with companies like a Nike or an Adidas, they recruit like from everywhere. So I'm working with some like the smartest people I've ever met in my life, like just geniuses in their own right. And I think just working in Europe and like not in America, there's such a different time. There's just a different way of people like wanting to come up with different ways to solve a solution. So there's so many different ways of people coming up with this way, and you never really even thought about it in like that type of way. But like so many people have like different perspectives that come from different backgrounds. So it's amazing. And now I have friends from all over the world. So it's just been crazy. And I think, yeah, one of the big things is like, once you work in these big companies, like everyone's like the best at what they do. So it's like, how are you going to like stand out? How are you going to be the best? Because everyone's just really good at what they do. So I think it's just been crazy just how everyone thinks so differently. And I've just been able to like soak that up like a sponge. Yeah.
Damn, that's insane. Like, you know, obviously like doing both, which do you kind of like prefer? Like, do you see yourself maybe like staying in Europe, or like you want to like come back here and do your own thing here? Like, where do you see yourself in the future?
Yeah, that's a good question. Like I clearly ask myself that question like every day. I know, like I think like a big misconception about me is that like people are like, oh, like you worked here, like you have your life figured out, and that's completely the opposite. I have no idea what I want to do. So I think for me, like Nike's been great, and I love like the people here, and I love like the work I do. I love like all the network I've made. So working in Europe would be great, like for if I have like the perfect role when I see my fit. But obviously I kind of miss home, and like I've always like wanted to come back home to like see my parents, see my sister. So it's all up in the air right now. Right now I'm just trying to like focus on like wanting to do my best on my internship. But I think anything can happen. Like a year before, I didn't think I'd be coming to Europe, and I'm here. So anything can happen. Just want to be ready for it, I guess.
Home misses you too, Kido. We miss you over here.
Thank you.
No, I think it's really interesting how you mentioned the fact that everyone thinks you're so successful and you've got everything figured out because you work at Nike. Obviously, that's a goal for a lot of people. And I think that's a really cool point of our podcast is we want to bring on people who are successful and kind of show their journeys and how they've kind of molded into that within DECA or within I think Goodman. It's really interesting seeing how people think you're figured out, but in reality, you're just like, I don't even know what I'm doing. And that's like, I feel like Daniel, I think that's me and you too. They might see us as successful, but we have no idea what we're doing sometimes, right?
Man, we're all just putting it together as we go. Like, I don't know, like
100%.
It's crazy. Like, I'd consider myself like on a good track, like for my age, but like at the same token, there's times where I literally just look in the mirror. I'm like, what am I doing? Where am I going, man? Like,
I think everyone has that. I think everyone has that like self-doubt, and like I think that's just what makes everything interesting, because like obviously you keep self-doubting yourself, but you know, like you just keep pushing away and chipping at it, like something's gonna work, right? So I have no idea. I'm just as lost as anyone right now. So just because your experiences are different doesn't mean you cannot like go to what you want to be and believe in who you want to be. So for sure, like everyone's just lost right now.
Man, it's insane. But I mean, like on that same token, you know, obviously you said like you get to work with like some really like awesome people, and you said you even said like they're like geniuses when they're all right. So I guess like I don't know, like what's something common that you see amongst them, like in terms of like characteristics of like the successful people that you see?
Yeah. Well, just successful people in my life or like just at Nike, I think.
You know, it could be both. Like something that you see that's a common
About both.
factor with all of them.
Yeah. I guess there's a common factor with all of them is just like especially at Nike is like attention to detail. Like
Mm-hmm.
some of these guys they're so everything needs to be perfect, right? Like everything not perfect, but it needs to like damn near be perfect. And because like obviously as I said, like Nike, Adidas, these companies are so competitive. Like everyone wants to work at Nike. Everyone wants to work at Adidas. Like everyone has good ideas, but what makes you stand up from the next person that just wants it as bad as you? And that's like to me what I've seen is just attention to detail. Like people are perfect. People want to like people just if there's a plan, like they'll do it. They'll drill it 100 times. If it doesn't work, it's just like crazy. And something that I've learned from this, like working at Nike, is that you have to be a little bit psycho, like to work at Nike, because like plans change like in an instant, right? And like things change. You have to rework things, and things have to do. You have to do this, you have to do that. Like XYZ change, plans change. Like athletes do this and athletes do that, and then we have to like we're very reactive, and you have to be able to like just go on the fly, right? And just learn on the fly and just adjust. So I think that's like one of the biggest things, like just being attention to detail and being super flexible. Like I know everyone says like I'm flexible, but you have to be when you're in there, like you really have to like commit to being flexible and you have to be able to adapt. And that's one of the biggest things that I think I've noticed from just successful people at the company and just like successful people in general.
Mm-hmm. For sure. Like, do you find that you like when you first got in that you like struggled with that, like being that kind of like flexible to the situation, or did you kind of like catch on to it right away?
I think for me, I think like at first I'm definitely gonna say I struggled just because not, and it wasn't for sure Nike. I think it was just all the circumstances around it. So I came like a month before Corona hit. So I
Mhm.
came like new country by myself, all that. So when that came, I was like, yeah, I was like so like trying to like catch up. I was kind of playing catch up because I didn't really get to meet my team until June, like in person. Everything was just online. So like it was kind of crazy just learning on the fly. But in terms of me, I think I was able to catch up really fast. And I credit this like going back to DECA because DECA is literally just thinking on the fast. That's literally what DECA is. Like how fast can you react and make something right? So I was really well that I had that DECA experience because I was able to come up with ideas and contribute to the team like right away, even though I had so many circumstances going on, like moving and trying to adjust to the culture here. I was able to definitely like adjust quickly, but it was obviously an adjustment. And like I'm still learning, but I think I'm getting the hang of it like every single day.
Mm.
With adjusting quickly, have you made any mistakes? Kind of, obviously, everyone makes mistakes, but within like your
Mm.
job, when you first started, did you make any like big mistakes that you kind of regretted?
Um, Honestly, I think regretted no, and I think just because I never regretted the mistake because I had such a great team. So like if I made a mistake, my team was just like, yo, don't worry about it. We'll get the next one, or we can fix it so you can be so you can make sure you don't make the mistake again. So I never regret a mistake, never ever regret like a mistake that I made because I was surrounded by such a great team that helped me along the way. So that was one of the biggest things that yeah, you're gonna make mistakes, but that's why you're here. Like you're here to make mistakes, you're here to learn. You're an intern, so that's what they want you to do.
Mm.
So just surrounding myself with a great team, and they just let me make mistakes. So that's like one of the best things. Just go to a place where they let you make mistakes.
For
You know,
sure.
I think that.
Go
Oh,
ahead. Go ahead.
no, I think I was just gonna say like I think that's like a really key thing, but I feel like that's really tough. Like that just comes down to like a support system, right? Like in general, like in
Mm.
anyone's life, and I feel like a lot of people are challenged with not having that support system. Like not even a professional one. You know, I mean, just talking about like basic
Right.
like a family support
Yeah.
system, or maybe like a good like group of friends that like kind of like pushes you to kind of like like go after what you
For
want,
sure.
right? Like
Yeah.
it's kind of sad in all honesty because I feel like it's something that's become rare when it shouldn't be. Like I feel like everyone should kind
It
of be
is.
like finding the group of people that they really click with, and then like you almost like just like push each other. You know what I mean?
Right. I've been blessed to have like great, obviously like Nimrat, Jaina, Mile. Those are kind of like three best friends that I've known for like my 4 years I've been here, and we just push each other all the time. So like having that kind of small support group is just, or that one friend just to push you and like know what goals you want to get to is like, it's crucial. It makes everything like, just makes like, oh, they're working just as hard as me and they want me to get to their goals. So it just helps you along the way, especially in my situation, just being so far away from home. But also like to like counter that, like sometimes in life, like you won't have that support. Like you won't have people there in your corner, and you have to, if you really want it, you have to go get it, right? Like no one thought I was gonna work at Nike or in Adidas or whatever until I said like, yo, I'm gonna work it, I'm gonna do it. And no one really, and it's obviously no one really believes in you until you prove that you can do that, you can prove it. And sometimes it's like success is a lonely road, right? So you just gotta like push by yourself, and sometimes that's how it goes. But it's obviously well worth it at the end. But it is like sometimes it does get lonely, and that just shows how strong-minded you are. It's like, yo, I'm gonna get here. Either you believe me or you don't believe me, I'm gonna get there regardless.
Comes down to like fortitude, right? Just like strength of will almost.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
It's tough. I feel like, I don't know. I feel like it's not a common thing these days. Like, I don't know. In all honesty, I feel like, you know, with the internet and like social media, I feel like everyone's really become desensitized.
Soft.
You know what I mean?
Almost like, for lack of a better word, I think kids are soft. Like,
yeah,
I think
and like you hate it when you say that, because like it's such like an older generation thing to say. It's like, it's something like your parents would say to you, like you guys are so soft.
Yeah.
Like everyone knows their parents always talk about, even like walking to school. Like you complain about walking to school, and they make it sound like they have to like walk through like a mountain.
I walked through 4 hills. I walked 5 cities in the snow.
My parents boated from Vietnam every day.
They boated. They literally
just
boated
to get that education, and you can't memorize your times tables. It's so tough.
God.
But honestly, like
It's
it's kind of true, because like I mean, even if you look at social media stuff like IG, right? Like IG really just, if you think about it, it's really just like a highlight reel, right? Like everyone's kind of just like showing their
your best moments, of course. Yeah, of course.
Right. And like you start to think like that's how it should be for everybody, and then you almost feel bad when you're not doing that. You're like, yo, this person just bought like their first house, you know, and I'm like sitting here with like
I'm 21, guys. I just bought my first house. The Lambo's coming. I just pre-ordered it. Don't worry. I got the PS5 coming too. Oh, social media is the worst in that, and that's something I think people tell me, because like, oh, like you do this, you work with so much product, this and that. Like, but it's honestly just my best moments, because obviously no one's gonna show their worst moments. No one's gonna put on the gram, oh, I just got like the client from this job. Like no one does that, right? So like, everyone just puts their best moments forward. And then like once I started to understand that, I knew that like it doesn't matter how well this person looks, just how well are they actually doing? Like what are you actually doing to like be better on? Because all that social media stuff really doesn't matter at the end of the day. But yeah, it's just so toxic sometimes. But that's the life we live in. So
yeah,
exactly. I mean, sorry, go ahead.
No, please.
No, even on like social media, like people post their best pictures, but like what you really don't see is the 20 ugly pictures that they didn't want to post, and that's me. I'm that person, right? And I'm posting a picture I look nice in. Like the fit is like, the angle is nice, the fit is nice,
gotta get the
lighting's
fit
nice,
bro. Yeah, that's it, man.
Exactly. Even on LinkedIn, like people are posting their successes. They're posting. Like,
LinkedIn's the worst. And honestly, I'm one of those. I can't even lie anymore. I'm a LinkedIn, like, I think I'm a LinkedIn baddie. You know how there's IG baddies? I think I'm a LinkedIn baddie. It's just bad. Like anything, like, oh, like I will post about it. I'll retweet about it or whatever. I like it. I'm always on LinkedIn. And before I used to think like LinkedIn was such a safe space to see things and see. Sometimes it gets so toxic, because it's just like you see people like your age doing this. I just got this internship. I just got this job, or I just got on honor roll and this. And it's like, bro, like sometimes you have to turn it off. And I realized that. I think like I realized that myself. I have a tendency to do that on LinkedIn, just because I want to get a job and I want to get hired. I want people to see me. But yeah, sometimes it's just a little too much. So yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, go ahead. Sorry, I keep cutting you off.
Oh yeah, no, I was just gonna say, like, based off like all of that, you know, like the social media and like the group of successful people, like, what out of all of that, like, what would you think is like the most crucial thing for like people coming up to kind of like focus on? Is like one thing, is a combination of all of them? Like, what do you think is kind of like the diamond in the rough?
I think, to me, especially, I think when people ask me like, oh, like how did you like get this, or you get that, like for like, or any advice I can give to anyone, it'd just be like find what makes you special, and just understand that. Like, refine what makes you unique and just go after that, you know, just in any space, like human accountant or real estate or like a nurse or a doctor. Like, everyone has something that's unique, and just be that, like, live that. Like, don't try to hide it. Don't try to shy away from it. Don't try to conform to anything. Just be unique and make sure you see what people see that in you. So, because that's what really stands out when all these people want to apply to these big companies, like top four or the big four on Bay Street or like whatever. But it's just like, what makes you unique? What's gonna make you stand out? So, and obviously, like, it's not, that's easier said than done. Like, like, no one really knows what's unique about them until they find it. But that's all just like self-reflection and like continuing to like grow and with yourself and learn about yourself. And once I knew what was kind of unique within me, like, I just went after it and I started just making sure that people saw it, and that's what kind of like what helped me. So that's any advice I'd give to you. Just find what makes you you, and don't ever change that about yourself. And if that makes you feel great, just keep on doing it and be yourself and live your truth.
Yeah, exactly. I think you really have to be unique, especially like within just such a competitive job market. You see other people, you want to be like them, but you have to be better than them. You have to be different from them.
Exactly.
That's how they got their job. Right? And I feel like, sorry, go ahead, man.
No. Exactly. I was just saying, preach, Bill, preach.
And I feel like even I'm guilty of this. I'm not even lying. It's like we see other people like, yo, I'm 20 years old. I see this 20-year-old in the NBA making millions of dollars. I see this other 20-year-old. He just cured he cured something. And I'm here 20 years old. I'm mucking a Big Mac burger in my bedroom, right? So I think we get caught up in a lot of being jealous of others and not kind of taking your own pace, you know? Like, we see this guy being successful and then we get jealous and then we resent ourselves and resent what we're doing. But in reality, what we're doing, like, it's good. We're successful in our own eyes. We're doing a lot for us. Like, whatever we're doing, I know Daniel, like, we're involved in clubs. Kido, you're in clubs, you're working at Nike. But we did that at our own pace, right? We didn't, obviously sometimes we get jealous because other people are more successful, but I think you have to really take it at your own pace, because life is not a race, but it's a marathon. You have to make sure that you're going to finish that marathon at your own pace. Because if you're not, like, if you're a jogger, if you do cross country and the coach puts you in a 60-meter dash for track and field, you're not going to do the best, right? What you're good at is cross country and keeping at a certain pace. Of course.
No, that's a big thing. Just like just to piggyback off that point, like, I think every time I try to tell people that, they're like, oh, it's easy for you to say you've worked at this and this and this. So, but like, honestly, I do at my own pace. I've never forced anything. Like, just things I've been like, honestly, I say this all the time. I've been blessed, truly blessed, like, just to be in the position I am, but I'm not satisfied. Like, I've just done everything at my own pace, and there's still so much and still so many things I want to continue doing, but I'm never going to force it. Like, everything's going to come at when it's supposed to come. I just got to keep working, and that's something I can show to everyone. Like, it doesn't matter who's doing this right now, like, it really just matters, like, where you want to go. And like, if you know like a good idea of where you want to go and how to get there, just keep going and don't worry about all the extra stuff. Just believe what you want to do and just like live it.
Man, it's great to hear, but like, you know, obviously it's easier said than done almost in some cases, right? You know, like Bill was touching on it, and like, honestly, like, I'm guilty of it too. You know what I mean? Like, I look around and like, I find that like one of my biggest vices is that like I compare myself a lot to people. You know what I mean? I'm like, it's almost like it's never enough for me. Like, I'll achieve something, but then automatically it's like I'll set another goal, and then it's like what I'm trying to get better at person is kind of just like slowing down and be like, yo, like, look what I did. You know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
Yeah.
So that's literally like what I think. Like, if you guys look at the convo, like, chats between me and Mile, that's literally what we talk about every day. It's like, oh, like, we want to do this next, I want to do that next, but like, so we never just slow down and think about, oh, look, we did this and we did this and we did that and we did this, and like, we're gonna be fine. But like, it's always, and I think that's good to a certain extent, and I think that's honestly, like, that's kind of what DECA brought out of me. DECA brought out, like, it's like, once you win once, you want to win again, and you want to win again, and you want to win again, and you want to again, and you just keep on want to go, and then it's a rush, right? Like, who doesn't want to do that? So, and then like, I brought that mentality of like winning at DECA to winning in like real life. Like, oh, I just got this initiative, I want the next one. I got this and I want the next one. I got this, I want to keep on going, I want to keep on progressing. But something like as you said, you just have to kind of like do it at your own pace, because once you start forcing things, it doesn't feel like the same way when you first run. It feels like kind of like augmented, and it doesn't feel like just keep on doing what you did to get here, and everything's going to be okay. Obviously, it's harder than to say it than to actually do it, but just got to, once, if you have that strong belief, like everything will hopefully work out.
Man, hopefully, man, hopefully. I
hopefully.
mean, like,
Keyword, hopefully.
hopefully. It ties in almost to like the social media too, right? Because like, you know, there's that mentality and you already have that, but then it's fueled because every time you go on your phone, right, it's the LinkedIn, it's the IG, even the Snap, you know what I mean? Like, it's everywhere. You just see it. Everyone's just flexing and trying to be the greatest. And like, it's gone so bad. It's like, personally, like, I've even made it a point, like, Bill knows this, like, in terms of like, you know, Chas, if he tries to reach me like after 10, I'm ghost. Like, I literally make it a point to like, I put my phone on the charging dock and I don't touch it until 10 o'clock. Like, I'll wake up.
Spend all day scrolling. Yeah, of course.
And like, I'll wake up in the morning and like, I'll go on a walk and like, no music, no nothing. Like, I just have to be like alone with my thoughts because like, I know as soon as I pick up my phone, it's just go time. And I'm getting like bombarded with like emails, messages. And it just like, it almost like ignites that like mentality again. And it's like, I'm in go mode again. Right. So like, I have to like quiet it down at the end of the day so I don't drive myself insane.
I do that too. Like, I do that all the time just because like, it's like, there's always someone who's more successful than you. It doesn't matter where you are. It doesn't matter what you're doing. Like, I guess Jeff Bezos doesn't count, but I feel like even Jeff Bezos right now, he has someone like, yo, I want to do that. Like, why is that person doing it? Like, everyone just has that mentality. And obviously it's so like self-destructive at times, as you said, but that's just like, that's the life we live in. But like, of course, like, I need to do better in that, just to know like, yo, I've done this, like, I'm going to be okay. But it's so hard with social media, but that's just like how you have to manage life. You know, it's not going away, right? So just how can we live within that space?
You know what? I think it honestly just comes down to like having a good balance in your life. You know what I mean? Like, you try not to feel the highs too high. You try not to feel the lows too low. Like, keep as central as you can. Obviously, like, celebrate your successes, but like, at the end of the day, I feel like something I'm learning as I get a little older is like, you got to have someone to kind of like ground you and just be like, you know, at the end of the day, like, no matter if I succeed or fail, like, I know who I am. And, you know, like, that's consistent. That's not going to change. There is no like getting better in that regard. Like, this is just who I am. Right. And like accepting that. It sounds like very Visco girl, you know, but like it's I don't know. It's something that I feel like everyone has to get better at, because at the end of the day, like,
that's a quote that you hang on your wall, in your
live,
bed.
laugh, love.
Yeah, with with the lights on, with the lights that you have.
With the mood lights.
Yeah.
Play some R&B, you know.
It's a bar.
Get on the vibe.
No, you're right, though. As easy as it is, you're right. No.
I think we get a lot of people. We're guilty. I'm guilty of everything, but I think we get caught up on so much. Like, you want more and more, but you forget why you started, right? Like, you want to do this because you felt like what made you happy. This would made you happy, but then you do it and you see somebody else doing something else, and then so you want to make sure that you remember why you started at the end, because that's what's driving you, right? Like, your motivation at the beginning. But on the other hand, you need to have that kind of mentality where I want more to be successful.
No, for sure. I mean, like, I feel it comes down to like, people are also like scared to fail. You know what I mean? Because you see all this kind of like success and like everyone just like, you know, flexing around you, like, it almost makes you look critically at yourself, and then you're like, oh, am I a failure? Like, but I feel like it's almost important to have that, because like, what a lot of people don't realize is like, failure just is a part of the process. You know what I mean? Like you said, it's just another chip in the road that's gonna allow you to get to the destination.
Of course. Yeah, like, that's it. Like, for me, I hate failing. I just hate losing, you know, just being competitive. I think I honestly hate losing more than I even like to win, because I just hate just the feeling of losing is just the worst, and that just sticks with you more than the feeling of winning, to be honest. Because I remember 1 year just losing at I think I remember when I think my last provincials I went to, I lost that provincials, and I think for 4 months until I got to ICDC, I was like in the worst mood. And at ICDC, I was just so focused to win, and like that's how I think that's how we won, because we were just so angry at just like, why didn't we win? And just that rush of losing will just keep pushing you to like, how can we do better? And you go back to the basics, right, of how you started winning, and that will just help you. And then you can just take that to life, like in the life situation as well.
Have you ever like you said, the fact that you hate to lose, have you ever, you obviously said you use it as a motivation to win. Have you ever let it kind of get to you where you were scared to lose, so you didn't try it, or just kind of like, I'm not going to lose, so I'm going to do it? Or has it ever been like a time where you kind of regret missing out on something because you were so scared, like you hated losing, so you're like, I'm not going to do it because I might lose?
Mhm.
I think honestly no. Like I've just always been that person because I'm just gonna do it regardless. Like I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna, you know me. Like I speak my mind. I'm gonna speak my mind. I don't care what anyone else to say about me. I'm just gonna speak my mind. That's where I go with everything. Like if I do it and I lose, the worst thing that's gonna happen is if I lost, I can like try again, whatever. But I think you have to lose because that's the only way of, like, as what Daniel said, it's a part of the process. You have to lose to progress and win and win. And like something I don't really tell people is that I think one summer
Mhm.
in I applied for Adidas basketball in Portland. Like this was the US internship. And I made it to like the last cut. And I'm like, yo, for sure. I already this was after I worked for Adidas in Canada. So I'm like, oh, I have this. This is mine. Like I have it. Like I work for Adidas in Canada. Like I'm good. I got it. Made it to the last interview. It was me and this other guy. And I lost and I didn't get the job. And I tell you, it crushed me. It crushed me. It crushed me to the point where it's just like I just didn't even want to work in sports anymore. I didn't want to like even like compete in DECA. I didn't want to do anything. I was just so crushed and upset. And that's when the point where I just looked at myself and I picked myself up. Like I let myself be down for a little bit, but I picked myself up and then I just like went right back to it. And like something my mom always said is like, yo, you can be sad, but you can be sad for like a max 48 hours.
Mhm.
Then like after that 48 hours is over, you go right back into it. You just keep grinding, you go. And that loss, like not getting that job, helped me get TD. And then after I got TD, that helped me get Nike where I am right now. So everything happens for a reason. So but you just gotta keep going. It doesn't matter.
Would you say that was like the kind of like failure that like shaped you the most?
Shaped me the most. I definitely think like for right now, I'm definitely gonna fail more. I hope so. I fail more. But yeah, like I think right now, I still like to this day, I think I should have got the job at that because that's just how I am. So I think about that loss almost like every day. I think like it's so crazy. I know this is kind of like Kobe like Mamba mentality crazy. I know exactly the person who got it, and it's not like and I know like I just know who he is and it's
Mhm.
like he does nothing. He has done nothing to me. He has nothing. Like I don't even know him. He doesn't know me. He's somewhere like across the world. Don't even know him. But I want to be better than him. Like
Mhm.
you're not better than me. You know that's the and it's not nothing personal. It's just like how I think, and that's why I think the small success I have is just because I take my losses personal, and I want to be better, and I want to be the best at that. It doesn't
Okay.
matter. So like that's why I keep holding. Like I just always think about it, and that just motivates me to be like better right now. Like hopefully like obviously people can say it's crazy, but like look at where I am right now. Like all that helped me to get to where
Yeah.
I am right now. So I just gotta
Yo,
keep going.
Preach, brother.
Yo, Kido just went
Yeah.
full Michael Jordan Last Dance, just like
I took that personal. And I took it personal.
I
It's
think
like
personal, he's like creating like fake scenarios in his head, like he's imagining
ah,
like
oh
talking
my
back to him.
god. Yeah,
Oh
but I
my
was
god.
upset. I was upset. I can't lie, I was upset.
But
But
you know what? Like it's a good thing because, like you said, like if it wasn't for that flop at Adidas, like look at that. I'd argue that you're in a better position now. Like, bro, you're in
hundred
Amsterdam
percent.
working at Nike. Like that is like
Yeah, I know.
that is every SPMA kid's like dream. Besides like being a
It's
GM.
honestly it's crazy like to be even that like and honestly like that person I still like obviously don't even know I'm doing but I still think that day like oh like he's not even in the same area code as me in terms of just what I can bring to any team and it's nothing against him just how I get myself ready to go when in terms of a project or a paper I have to write for school or just like a project I have to present to a team or just life like I just always want to be the best version of myself and that has nothing to do with anyone else but I just keep my losses personal because this is what motivates you to be the best, and
Mhm.
that's what I continue to do. So, yeah,
Damn, bro.
obviously I don't recommend that for anyone else to try, but that's just
It's
what
just
works for
it's the
me.
mentality you have. Obviously, no, and I get it because like I have it too.
Yeah,
I know Bill takes it too to some degree. Like it's something that you kind of just have in you. But yeah, Bill, I don't know. I don't
Oh
know.
yeah,
I
I
know.
take my losses very personally.
Same
Sorry,
thing. Yo, decade kids are just we're built
we're built
different.
different.
We're
But
just
We're
we're
built
built.
to
breed.
win.
We're built different. We're built to win. I definitely think it's just like what we've done and like how we. I think just well, with me like 4 years ago, DECA was not what Goodman DECA wasn't what it was. Like even Goodman School of Business wasn't what it was. I think just, and we were always kind of like the underdogs in that when I was in first year. And I think just like the cohort with Jasmine, Avni, Simran, like me, Mile, like Nimrat, Jaina, like I wouldn't say like we kind of ushered in a new wave, but we kind of just like, we started winning a lot and we kind of put our name out there. Even with JCC, like we kind of just started winning at that time. We kind of, and all of Goodman, like put our name out there. So obviously more DECA than JCC, but we kind of just put our name out there and we started being that. And we just come from underdogs. And now we're like, I wouldn't say we're the top dog, but like we're respected school now. And everyone sees us as that. So
you know, it's crazy that you mentioned that, because like even when I like going back to when I first even got accepted, you know, into Brock, I'm like, Brock, you know, but then
right.
it came down to for me was like the program, right? And like Brock for me like had the best program because he gave me everything I wanted. So I'm like, you know, I had a conversation with myself and I'm just like, all right, listen, at the end of the day, you know, like, oh, you know, you have friends going to Queens and stuff. I'm like, yo, listen, like I could either blow out 40K a year to go to, you know, a really prestigious school, but get a mediocre degree, or I can go to a school that may not be viewed that highly, but like actually learn something of value. And like, at the end of the day, I'm super happy I did, because like you said, like the culture that you guys kind of created is amazing. Like to the point where like, I love the people at Brock. Like I just love the environment. It's like competitive, but also helpful. Like everyone's like going for it, but like, people will lend you a hand. People will help you. And like you kind of get to build like this great community that I don't see in other like universities. Like I just don't see it as a thing. And it's super important to have, because like you create this like culture that just like only gets better. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a sisterhood and a brotherhood. Like I still have people in like my first year, like when I was in first year and like they're in fourth year, and now they're like gone on, like they're in their lives right now, but like we're still close. Like guys like Majid and like still like guys I just talk to all the time, just like people, and it's like a brotherhood and a sisterhood. Like you just keep having that connection, and like, that's why we're so good. Because that's why I think we don't take it as just, oh, it's just Goodman DECA, and like, oh, we're just doing this for 2 hours. Like we're actually friends outside of this. We became great friends outside of this. We're all like brothers and sisters, and that's why, like, which is like kind of a big family. And I think I'm so blessed to be a part of that culture. I'm so blessed that we've been able to create that at Goodman, and I'm blessed that we'll be able to win too. So that's been one of the really, really good things as well.
It's just it's a school of underdogs.
Yeah.
I know, Daniel, you mentioned like when I tell people I go to Brock, people are like, yeah, you go to Brock. But like I go to Brock, like I'm proud of that. Like let's look at us now. All the opportunities we've had with extracurriculars and meeting so many people. And what I really like is when I walk around Brock, I see someone I know there. I see someone I know there. And it's such a nice like community culture feel where you feel welcome. It's not just like a school, but it's like kind of like a second home. It sounds cheesy, but it's true. Like when I'm walking around the Goodman, I'll like stop by the BSA office and I'll see like 10 of my friends there. And we're just also, I can sit there for an hour just goofing around. And that's like the culture I love about like Goodman and Brock.
I think a big thing for us too is like we were kind of around when the new atrium was built. Like we were literally there and that's like, that was kind of big for me because it's like, that's like a hub of like, obviously I'm not the stereotypical normal business kid, but like, that's kind of like, I see like everyone else there. I see like my friends there. I see like, that's where my classes are. It's kind of like a hub, like something new that we started. Like we require like the new era ushering this in. So it was like, it was a good time. Like I love Brock. I love being a Broxton. I'll always be proud of like going to Goodman for sure.
No, it's definitely great. But I mean, like taking it back to like the underdog and like kind of like the winning mentality, you know, constantly like pushing yourself in that environment. Like at what point are you going to say to yourself, like just on a personal note, like, all right, this is enough. Like I've achieved kind of like the apex of what I can, you know what I mean? Like, do you have kind of like an ultimate kind of achievement, or is it just like ever evolving for you?
I think it's a little bit of both for me. Obviously, like you never want to stop growing and I don't see myself growing anytime, like stopping anytime soon. Like I don't want to put a cap or a ceiling on anything, but like obviously you think about like, obviously I think like I want to make like this X amount of money. I want to like this, I want to be like this position. And that was always so great. And I've always wanted that. But to a certain point, it's just like, I want to be able to impact like someone's lives or people's lives. Cause like I've always been like, I've been around sneakers and culture and like, and I've always been the guy like, oh, Keo, he can get you a link on some sneakers. He can get you a link on some gear. But like in 10 years from now, I don't want that to just be what I can give to someone, you know? I want myself to be able to like, oh, I went back to my community in Brampton and I built something for younger kids, or like I built or did something for other people, or like I was able to make a impact with like other kids who don't really get that, or seeing kids from my perspective. Because I think like coming from Brampton, Ontario, like there's so many different sports legends like Tristan Thompson, Tyler Ennis, Cassie Campbell, and there's so many like artists like Alessia Cara, right? But no one really, there's not a lot of people who are like, for me, who just want to be, he went to school and now look at where he is. Like he's at like a CEO of a top time. I don't say I'm going to be a CEO, but like there's not a lot of people who see me in that from like coming from where I am, just like sports and entertainment. But I just always wanted to like show like people that like anything can happen. You can do it. Like you don't have to be an artist or a rapper or a basketball player to just be anything you want to be from where I am. So that's one of the biggest things I think for me. And once I get to that, and like when I can be influential to people just on that level, that's when I think I've made it. And I think that's when it comes. I think that's when the money comes, like when the houses come and all that. That's when that comes too. So that's probably my biggest. But for right now, I think there's no limit. I think I have so many like crazy ideas in my head and where I want to go and where I want to take it, and places I want to work. So I just want to continue growing and just be influential to anyone.
That's hefty. Damn. But no, for sure. Like
bars.
He's dropping straight lyrics on me. Jesus. But no, like I definitely agree.
Kido, man, so inspirational.
Oh,
so inspirational.
The guy. But you know what? Like
I can see it. The Kido Sports Center.
I think it's something like important to touch on. You know what I mean? Like giving back to the community too. You know what I mean? Like you achieve like a certain level of success, but then you come back and then like it's not like you forget about the city or the people that kind of like helped create you. Like you breathe new life into it, and then you make sure that like the generation that's going to come after you is going to be able to have like the same, if not better, opportunities to get that.
Yeah. And honestly, just like to speak like for me, like especially just being like someone of color in this like place that we're all right now, in this like sensitive place, like I just wanted to teach any Black boy or Black girl or anyone of color, just like they can be whatever they want in this world, right? And like I know there's so many like weird things happening and horrible things happening, but you can be anyone you want to be. It doesn't matter where you come from. And that's something that's just really important to me that I've like learned about myself during this whole like kind of 2020 COVID weird year, that like you can just do anything you want to be, and it doesn't matter where you come from. And if there's any way one day I can help usher that and actually make good change in that, like that's kind of a goal for me, like an overarching goal for sure.
No, for sure, man. And I feel like you're going to be on that path. I think you're definitely going to be able to reach that. I think all of us are just like on a good path right now. But it just comes back to like keep pushing the dial, right? Like making sure that you make yourself better, and then like always be mindful of where you came from, right?
Yeah,
that's what it really comes down to.
That's a big one. Yeah, for sure.
Exactly. I mean, like with that being said, like all said and done, I feel like that's a really good place to kind of like leave off the episode, in all honesty.
Yes. I think that's a good place.
I
think okay, one thing I want to say, women in business, I support you. We all support women in business, right? Women in business, we support you. I've had like great women managers, great women influencers. I just want to put that out there. Women in business, we support you. We love you. That's it.
Shout out to Bucky Webb. They're doing great things over there.
Webb, shout out Webb. Shout out all my women.
Shout out the Unapologetic podcast. Like the girls over there are killing it. They're doing great things.
Shout out the Unapologetic podcast. Shout out Jana. Shout out everyone that's working there. Just tireless work. Shout out all my women managers. Shout out my mother. Shout out everyone. Shout out all our mothers. Great people. So just shout out women in general. Shout out Camilla Harris too.
Camilla Harris,
go for you.
History's being made by the minute.
History's being made, man. We're part of history. So just shout out everyone. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you for letting me be here.
Man, of course. You know what? Like, even just to touch on that one last time, like, this is, I feel like the next couple of years are going to be very interesting just because with everything going on in the world as a whole, we're going to see a lot more opportunities being created for everybody and like equality actually taking place. And I think it's going to happen. And I feel like the world's mind is set on it now. And hopefully it only goes up from here. Right.
I hope to see more diversity and inclusion within the workplace, not even the workplace, but school, like life and everything, just having more like colored individuals, like women, just being more successful and seeing like a diverse group of individuals. Cause it's great to see.
honestly, like one of the last points is like I have to attribute women being my success because like even at Adidas and Nike, I've always had senior leadership be women. That's all I've seen. So women can do whatever they want, just everything. I've been surrounded by so many great women in my life. So obviously, shout out Jaina, shout out Daniela, shout out Nimrat, shout out just all the great women that I've seen and I've been in my life. So just thank you. Shout out my mother, shout out my sister. So thank you.
Hey man, this podcast is gonna be legendary. You're gonna come back 10 years from now.
Like, great. Oh, yeah. Gotta put this on. I'm gonna come back to this podcast and hopefully I'll be something. But
you will. No, you will be something.
You will be something, bro. Come on, no. You already are something, but you're gonna be, you know, at an even better level.
Thank you.
Anyways,
we all are.
Of course. But with that being said, Kido, thanks so much. I really appreciate it, man. This has been one of my favorite episodes so far. And you know what? I think, you know, this is going to be a great one. So with that being said, tune in next week or whenever we drop the next one for the new episode of Uncut Gems.